well, Chris is gone. Well, where did you go? Welcome.
I did a full lap of the Earth and then just arrived.
And then you return like the Flash. Welcome to.
Go.
You take me slightly unawares. Welcome to season 7, episode 5 of Tight 10 Tacles. This is Chris Ashworth.
This is John Carruthers. This is John Carruthers.
This is John Whisper Sotto Voce.
He's just decided to do a special ASMR episode to commemorate his favorite. We got so many tentacles.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching live, then hello. You can actually genuinely be involved in Chrissy's quest. If you're not watching live, then welcome to the catch up. You can still type messages, but we're probably not going to pay attention to them. Feel free to like and share the stream. Pass it on to your friends, people that are missing out on the whole Tight 10 experience. I think it's important that they get to see it too. The full backlog of the 7 seasons thus far are still available on my YouTube channel, which is called probably John Carruthers.
It is called John Carruthers.
YouTube, if you type in John Carruthers or just type Tight 10 on Titan, you'll find that too. I'll post links on the Facebook page too. But if you're a new time watcher, then there is the entire backlog that you can watch, and it is just pretty much me starting my way through this as I am right now.
Offering absolutely no support.
No support or insight.
I had something I was going to say about 30 seconds ago, but I cannot remember what it was now.
You
talked it right out of my head.
It's the beauty of this show is that I tend to find myself kind of going off on tangents, as you're well aware of, and then remembering exactly what I was trying to get to around about 3 a.m. What we need,
we need a shorter refractory period.
We should do a charity show. We should do a charity show where it's us online for 24 hours.
I think we could fill the space.
I reckon we could
fill a lot of pish, but give us a 6-pack of cans each. 24 hours, no problem.
Absolutely, jump 6-pack. I can get through a 6-pack in one show.
You get through a 6-pack in one gulp.
Absolutely. But that's something we could do. We could do it for charity. It's good because it's for charity, and also the beauty is that we might actually finish a tangent
or finish an adventure, which we actually still haven't managed to do yet.
So yeah, Lucy seems to be firmly of the opinion that a 6-pack wouldn't be enough either. I get.
No, it's more like an 8 in a certain light.
I've not got an 8-pack. I've got a keg.
Yeah. You should get a girdle. Be like the rings in a barrel.
Yeah, do you know? I actually had to push my stomach out there because I'm actually relatively slim. I'm relatively slim, and I actually had to make myself look at. That's the first time in history somebody on video has had to try and make themselves look slightly fatter than they actually are.
You pufferfished.
I pufferfished, absolutely pufferfished.
Scare off predators.
Scare off sexual predators.
No,
they just want me for my body.
Barrel belly rings them in like shooting fish in a barrel.
So I actually had to do a fake dad bod there.
A fake dad bod because
fake dad bod. I'm nowhere near as slim as I've just portrayed myself to be, but I'm slimmer than I just showed on screen. I actually used all of my muscles to try and push that belly out there.
You can regret making that compress photographs time when the paparazzi's lining up after you next go.
Yeah, they're just kind of, like those pictures of Russell Crowe that they showed relatively recently going, this guy was Gladiator, and you're like, yeah, 23 years ago.
Yeah, stop going on about it. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger's lost muscle mass.
Give the guy a break. I know that, and that this is maybe, I think they do that to women all the time, and we've only just started to kind of take notice because they've
It took
started
23 years for Russell Crowe to get it.
Exactly. They've started. We didn't care about the kind of borderline misogyny there was, but when they started messing with Russell Crowe, we just went like.
Or Arnie. You can't mess with Arnie either. That he's lost. He doesn't look quite the Adonis that he used to. But
Absolutely. So Lucy's already screenshotted it for the next gig poster, which of course, if you were as into grammar as I am, Lucy, you would know that the correct phrase is screenshot it.
You've screenshotted.
I just screenshot that. So yeah, welcome to Tight Tentacles. We've not really we've not had a show in a while, just for a variety of different things that we won't go into right now.
There's been just a whole lot of stuff going on, but we were adventuring.
We've got lives too, Chris, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I've got a life. I don't.
We're not just here to entertain you, but please subscribe and like and share. Just for your entertainment. But the good thing about this particular season is there's lots of time loops. So I suppose the good thing about the fact that we're about a month and a half, 2 months between episodes is the fact that people have forgotten it. You've pretty much just been visiting a garage and a haunted house and then getting killed. And
I've definitely forgotten. I don't think the notes I've been taking are sufficient. There really probably should be more than that written down.
I've been taking very comprehensive notes, and of course, every day that we've not been streaming, I've been re-watching all of our videos in an effort to keep myself up to date.
Does that make you our stats man? Have you got like stats?
I'm a stats man.
Counted the blinks. We know how many blinks I did in season 6, episode 2.
Lucy's just done a fantastic callback to season 6.
What was a fantastic callback to season 6? Oh, so where we did the crab just kill Mungo. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, where were we?
Did the crab just kill Mungo? What have you been drinking or smoking? Don't answer that.
There needs to be a comment in, or comma.
I would have put a semicolon in, or a question. You could have done a question mark or a semicolon. I think would have probably the semicolon might not have been right, but they're given it a certain element of class. I think the phrase needed.
You would get to that and you'd be like, that means I should probably stop, and then it means something. No one knows punctuation. The true meaning was lost to time, but we know it means you got to stop, just like a comma. So just probably use a comma instead.
Lucy, we're not wanting to gang up on you, but there was a distinct lack of punctuation. Just.
Oh, I thought that was the correction. I was like, nice, you've done it again. Speed typing and rolling a fag.
Speed typing and rolling a fag. There's Lucy committing a hate crime in the 80s.
You make it sound like that's an event, like something that happened. Well, as we know, in the 80s, people would typically roll homosexuals up.
Rolling home is. Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, we're getting. I was trying to keep it kind of low key, but you just came right out and said it. But you're half allowed to say that.
Yeah, I am half. It's half
That's
okay.
half your word.
I didn't even say that word though. I just said homosexual.
Say that word, but you translated it. I think I left it relatively subtle.
That's a different language.
I think I left the comment quite subtle, and then you explicitly stated what I meant by it.
Yeah, but it's because I got caught up in the fantasy of trying to picture what that would look like. What does that mean? How do you roll somebody?
If there are any fags watching tonight, then I apologise.
He's meaning cigarettes, of course.
I am meaning cigarettes. If the Marlboro Man,
the one hanging out of Lucy's mouth,
one...
not the Marlboro Man. I mean the cigarette.
Hopefully this is taken in the jocular fashion that it was meant in.
I didn't even mean that last one.
So yeah,
I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we
No Smoking is a big Tight 10 fan. No Smoking from the... I think I banged into him in the waiting room of the doctors. No Smoking.
No Smoking, Stephen's brother.
No Smoking.
I have read the new Stephen King. Right, we'll do this now. I need to get this out of the way. Did I mention this to you already?
The new Stephen King? No. What is it? What's it called? What's it about?
The new Stephen King's called Holly, and it's based in it's the main character is a character called Holly Gibney, this is the sixth Stephen King book that she's appeared in. Normally he doesn't do recurring characters, but with a few exceptions he does. But
back.
This one's set during COVID.
Right. Up to the minute.
This one, yeah, that's so it's set in August 2021, I think. So it's set during COVID, July and August 2021. With a couple of flashbacks to it doesn't matter. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent within my tangent, right? Sorry, I'm just going to put this on.
He was the villain in the Camel. That's way back when.
No Smoking.
No Smoking.
Yep. So I thought I might have mentioned this to you in our kind of big MC group chat, etc. But clearly I haven't. So it's set during COVID, and I follow Stephen King on Twitter or X or whatever it's called this week.
Sure.
And I pretty much stand with Stephen King politically, and also on his stance on COVID, which he was very kind of pro-vaccination. He thought people should be kind of making sure that they're not purposefully going out there and harming other people just because they believe it's against their civil liberties. Just a wee bit of kind of humanity, and maybe just try and keep away from people, keeping
plague
your
spreaders.
Yeah, and get vaccinated as and where possible. And he's also got a very spectacular anti-Trump stance, which, apologies to any of my friends that are watching that don't, I also do too. I think the guy's an absolute menace to society. However,
sorry, anti-Trump stance sounds like something you would do to prevent yourself from farting.
Anti-Trump stance is it's the spiritual sequel to the song Buffalo Stance.
Yeah.
So
that's when you want to do a giant one.
So we're pretty much politically and pandemic aligned in the way that we feel, and the way that we our opinions on it, right? However, this book, in my opinion, was made borderline unreadable by the fact that barely a page ever passed where the character was kind of meeting up with somebody else and saying, "Oh, we need to put our face masks on," or "I hope you've been double vaccinated," and if you took out all of the kind of COVID, or anti-Trump stuff, the book would have been about half the length. I'm not even remotely. And he does an afterword at the end of the book where he's kind of going, a lot of people think I'm preaching, but I was trying to be of the time and blah blah blah. And I was thinking, no, you were absolutely preaching. He said
took half a book to do it.
Yep, he could have set the book during any other time, And honestly, I could rewrite the book right now and take out pretty much all of it. There's a couple of bits that you could have potentially kept in. One of the characters is out of action because they're in hospital with COVID. So one of the recurring characters in the book is out of commission because they've got COVID. And to be fair, you could take the document and do a copy and paste and take out in hospital with COVID and in hospital because all their ribs were broken. And then, and I just kind of, I can't, I can't help you right now because I'm in hospital right now because all my ribs are broken. And you could have taken out all of the, so you could have set the book during 2018, not mentioned COVID. And he said it was very important. And I was just kind of going, you could have taken, it was very important this character was out of commission. But
yeah,
it was,
it doesn't have to be COVID.
It doesn't need, it doesn't need to.
The inclusion of COVID doesn't add anything to the narrative.
Yeah, it actually needs to. And I'm on his side. He's not got a stance that I don't agree. So I dread to think what anybody that doesn't agree with him who likes Stephen King books just sitting kind of going, it was almost unreadable. By the end of it, I enjoyed it because I'd almost in my head just started to phase that stuff out, And I actually made a game of did that need that, did that, and almost made it enjoyable. But kind of going, you could have cut that, you could have cut that, you could have.
This is all just like preaching, cut around the preaching.
I'm fully aware of the fact that I have spent 17 minutes talking about how you can make something a bit tighter and a bit shorter.
I say if that, if you do want to deliver a message about COVID and stuff, there's plenty of platforms to do that on. It's no reason to ruin a good book.
Yeah, Stephen King's smart enough that he could have made some sort of COVID analogy or made a book about COVID. I mean, he wrote what is pretty much considered the embodiment of the kind of pandemic horror novel with The Stand. So he can do analogy quite well, but it became fucking boring. There was
it was a soapbox.
Yeah, it was a soapbox, and his main character in it does have certain. Part of her character traits is the fact that she does have certain neuroses, and he actually afterwards said this is how she would react to that. But it wasn't just her; it was every character.
So every character had neuroses.
Every character had the same neuroses as this person because they're kind of going, I assume you've been vaccinated. Or such. Or he had four characters in the book who came off as complete caricatures, just saying, you don't need your mask in here, and blah, blah, blah. And he did that. And he tried to flesh out all of the people that agreed with him and then made the people that didn't agree with him absolute caricatures.
Straw man. He made them into straw man.
He did make them into straw men. So yeah, so there is. So but I genuinely hope that in about sorry, I feel like I didn't put that up long enough.
I dragged it out till you actually screened for it to start. He literally wrote it for you, John.
I just remember that I sent you and Lucy voice notes, and she actually just said, "Just make it stop," because I did, everything was kind of protracted, and I
trying to drag the arse out of it.
Yeah. I need to send you and Lucy. I need to send you and Lucy the videos of me at the Aberdeen Fringe. That'll be drawn and protracted as well. Like 5 minutes of set is pushed into 35 minutes. The usual.
Yep.
Yes, you're making a comeback to comedy, of course.
I am making a comeback to comedy. I'll be at Junkyard.
I hope I've not just outed you.
No. I'll be at Junkyard first, Tuesday of the month?
Yeah, it's the 3rd of October. You're at the Junkyard.
Yeah.
And then you're doing some stuff in Edinburgh.
Monkey Barrel in November.
Yep.
I can't remember the date.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been since February 22, January 22. So
I like to think you've still been sharpening your comedy teeth here.
Yeah, this is my new style. I sit with a headset on, pretending to be an investigator in the deep south. Actually, do you know what? I'd watch that if someone went up on stage and went up and pretended to be an investigator from the Deep South. That would be incredible. You could have loads of props.
I actually, I'm not sure a lot of people that have seen me do comedy would agree, but I genuinely think that gigging online and during COVID was the best thing that happened to me in terms of my style.
You think so?
Yeah.
What did you get from? Because I didn't get much from the online gigs.
I found. Obviously, I don't think it changed the kind of general kind of ethos of who I was, but I found that when I was kind of gigging remotely, that I had much more control of my environment.
Yeah. I never really used that.
Sorry, Lucy just did point out something quite fundamental.
You got ME?
I'm so tired all the time.
You got me.
I got me. Well done. Yeah. That's the end of the show, folks. That's pretty much the pinnacle of No, Lucy, of course, was one of the first people I kind of streamed with.
Yeah, I did some shows with Lucy during lockdown, I believe. I don't believe, I know. I had a bet one of you would get that. Wait, which bet?
What is it? So she also did point out.
Boop, Chris is back.
Yeah, but I did a show with Lucy. I did a show with Lucy, which was one of the kind of first shows I did during lockdown. And what I liked about gigging during lockdown was that I had more control over my environment and I could do stupid things that involved the kids and stuff, and I had them kind of doing silly stuff.
That's impacted your comedy style now. Do you bring the kids with you?
I don't bring the kids with me, but I've realised that now I can have. It wasn't something that had occurred to me before. Was the fact that I can have an impact on my surroundings even when I'm.
Yeah.
Before then it was just kind of I'm turning up at a gig. I've got my microphone and I've got my wits about me, and that's kind of it. But I've been aware of the fact that I've got Charlie Wallace, of course, has made comments about that. Was the fact, and that was definitely from lockdown. Was the fact that I started to kind of fuck around.
I remember that. Remember that set you did at the Gong Show where you dressed as Santa?
I did dress, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Got someone else to dress as Santa.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what happened. Sorry, Morgan's just coming with a cup of tea. Right, thank you.
Morgan is, of course, your pet lizard.
Morgan is my pet lizard. She did make a weird kind of slurping sound as she pretended to drink my tea there. So I wouldn't have been surprised if you had actually thought that. So thank you very much. Thank you, Morgan.
What a cheeky iguana.
Cheeky iguana. But so I did a show for Charlie up in Dundee where I had done a gig from before, and they had this kind of barrier on the stage between us and the audience. And then Stevie Youngson went up a couple of months later, and I saw photos of it, and the barrier was gone. And I sent Stevie a message saying, "Is the barrier not there anymore?" I went, "No, it isn't." And then I used that in my set, the lack of barrier. I can't really go into detail and explain it, but if you ever speak to Charlie about it, he'll know what I was talking about. But I realised that you can kind of take advantage.
Speak to Charlie about that.
What's that?
I said I will speak to Charlie about that.
You should speak to Charlie about that, but Charlie will know what I'm talking about. But it's just one of those kind of things where you can kind of manipulate your environment. So I'd kind of grown used to manipulating my environment to the point I was actually genuinely worried about kind of going back on stage because I wouldn't have that. And I thought, well, why can't you?
Spring out along.
Yep, exactly. Just fuck around a bit. And that's just my general kind of ethos in comedy is just fuck around a bit.
Anyone that's fond of that one.
Anyone that's seen me do comedy will know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone that hasn't seen me do comedy, well, I mean, you're the lucky ones. So we're 25 minutes in.
It's definitely not a good quote to write down. My thing about comedy is just fuck around a bit.
Fuck around. I think people take comedy too seriously. I genuinely don't. Maybe I should, but I don't. I like.
Right. Sorry, the way you said that was like, I think some people take comedy too seriously. I genuinely don't. Like that was the continuation. Where he's like, oh, genuinely I do. You know what I mean?
I'll get the blackboard it.
Some people, you say something like, oh, I think that oranges are disgusting. Genuinely I do. You were like, I think that some people take comedy too seriously. Genuinely I don't. Like as if you were just contradicting yourself.
People take comedy too seriously. I don't.
Yeah, okay. Yes, they do. I agree.
All right. Sorry. When I said I think, and then I contradict. Yeah.
You're like, genuinely, I don't think
logical test. I get you.
Let's move on. That took far too long to get around.
Exactly. That's it. Two wrongs don't make a right.
No.
A double negative, double positive. Right, anyway, welcome to Tight 10, Tacles, Season 7, Episode 5. If you've just joined us, then you've missed 26 minutes and 59 seconds of unadulterated gold.
Yeah, you are kicking yourself. Watch the VODs.
It's just been pretty much me talking about how amazing I think I am as a comedian. The arrogance and the hubris.
And you could have written a better book than Stephen King.
I could have, yeah. I'm a better comedian than most comedians, and I'm a better writer than Stephen King. That's where we're at.
That's the level we're coming in, and now you have to lower yourself to reading out a lesser author's work.
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say a lesser author's work because I think he's done a bang up job. Not as good as I could have done. However, obviously, just go back to the Stephen King thing. I'm a massive fan of Stephen King, and I think Stephen King's one of the best writers in the world. And I think it's actually a shame that a lot of people won't experience that if they don't like horror. I think he's a very good writer, but because of the genre, he's decided to predominantly write in. A lot of people don't take note of it, but I do genuinely think
I think horror's the hardest genre to do well. It's very tough to pull off.
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with you.
Anything that you interpret as scary, someone else could interpret as silly.
Yes, no, for sure.
You've got to try and get the tension right to make silly scary.
I think Stephen King manages to do it quite well, but also with a kind of added eloquence. So when he writes a book like the book that he just wrote, which is still very well written, but he also uses it as a kind of soapbox, it makes me a wee bit sad.
Yeah, he's wasting his talent on that.
In my opinion, I'm just worried now that the next book's going to be the same, and the book
you're going to get a really angry letter from Stephen King, who's a fan of the show.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, I still love you. Stephen, if you're watching.
Drinks on Friday as usual, Stephen.
Absolutely, Stevie boy. If you're watching, Stephen, can you like and share? Because I mean, that'd probably bring our numbers up quite significantly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. If we got Stephen King
liked and shared,
a lot of people would see the like, notice the share, and follow. We get a massive fan base of predominantly horror fans, which is perfect for the book we're about to read.
Absolutely, for the book we're about to read in 30 minutes.
When we have a minute left on the timer.
That's the only way we're going to stop you going in a loop, as if I give you like a minute of adventuring.
Are we ready, though? Us talking for an hour, just in circles.
I don't think we talk in circles. I think we
don't.
I know I've said this before, but I think we rarely repeat ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with that, but then we'd have to get someone keeping score on topics covered.
We do need to get somebody that just watches these and points out to us when we have repeated ourselves. And I've told you like, oh, I don't think I've told you this one, and I tell you a story that I've already told 6 times on this
Someone
stream.
Someone comes in immediately, stops the stream, is like, alter course, different story, now, go, think of one now.
I've genuinely got friends that forget about stuff that they watched the day before.
No, it's sad. But it's great because you can tell them the same story a lot.
Yeah, this is perfect for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching us right now saying, I think I know that guy on the left.
Here's a question I have. This is maybe another tangent.
Fine.
The way that we see these screens, is that the way that it's broadcast? So am I on the right?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, am I on the right?
You're on the right and I'm on the left.
Ah, okay.
I only know this because I watched it to death after we've done it, just whilst pleasuring myself.
But wouldn't it be really shit if we do that point thing every time? It turns out all this time we were getting it right the whole time. We were actually nailing it.
No, it's as we see it. It's as we see it.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we can see, like, obviously our t-shirts are the right way around. There's my wee Banksy Mario one.
I would stand up, but I'm not gonna. Plus, my t-shirt's not very exciting.
I'm raising my left hand right now.
I am also raising my left hand right now.
I'm thoroughly confused because it's still my left. It's because I'm facing. I don't know.
That's actually raising my right.
Where are you raising your arm? Utterly, yeah. I was like, yeah, you fucked me up there. I was like going,
yep.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah, you did absolutely get me. I was going,
absolutely bamboozled.
Bamboozled. So welcome to Tight 10 Tacles Season 7, Episode 5. We are playing the house on Sentinel Hill. There you go. The fact that you can see that the right way around should have been all that we needed to know that it was right. Because, you know, when you sometimes do those videos or you take the photos and everything's reversed and the right, you don't notice till the writing's the wrong way around. But that is correct. So there you go. So basically what happened, you've been in millions of loops. I genuinely believe that you need to get to this house during the night, but you keep ending up going back to the town and going into a B&B. Going into a B&B. It's just from a financial perspective.
Oh, I've written left for sure, and then choice straight or right. I forgot to scratch out the one that was wrong.
So it's 6 more loops. 6 more loops, and then we'll be there. Lucy, obviously, happy about the fact that I completely fucked myself over there and didn't have a clue what was going on. What I will say, Chris, we started, before we started, we did start a spin-off show called Under 10 on Titan, where the main protagonist is Scott. He's already blown you out the water. He's made certain decisions that you didn't do when you did the Citadel of Chaos back in season 1, and he's just going with his gut. He's just, honestly, by the way, his stamina is dangerously low, but he's just going for it, and he's taking risks, and he's making choices, and everything seems to be kind of going his way. So
it's nice to see a new young generation of adventurers one day.
Absolutely, yeah. He's becoming increasingly obsessed with it because we watched Dungeons and Dragons a couple of nights ago, and he absolutely he loved it. He absolutely loved it. He thought it was great fun. He was cackling away at it. Scott loves a good cackle.
Is he cackle? Is he a cackler?
He does like a good cackle. So he was kind of, you know, I always worry, you know, when you've got somebody of Scott's age just kind of cackling away, you just go, he's going to pee himself. Because he's 9, but you just think he is actually, you know, he's of the perfect age where piss yourself laughing can be taken literally.
Yeah, it can happen. It's only very young, very early in your life, and very late in your life does that become a concern.
Lucy just pointed something out, and I know you haven't watched the video yet, but I'm going to point this out. Somebody, you know, had the opportunity to take a magical reflective silver mirror, and I said, Scott, do you want to take it? And he just went, no. I said, and I kind of fell out of kind of DM mode.
Do you know what? That's the most badass thing I've heard this week.
You've got a backpack, You got a backpack. You can take this mirror. It could hold you in good stead. Further down the line, it is no hassle to take this silver mirror.
You won't even notice it's on you.
He just doubled down and went, I don't want
That's brilliant. Just refusing free items.
Like, don't want your silver mirror. And it was great because the next person that came across, it could have saved him a lot of hassle had he had the silver mirror.
From just
he met this kind of scary ghost woman that didn't want to see her own reflection, and then it said, "Do you have a silver mirror?" I went, "Well, Scott, do you have the silver mirror?" And I went, "I don't have the silver mirror."
I didn't fancy it.
It cost him something like 2 stamina points, but it was just bad. Honestly, as Lucy rightly said, I did fall out of GM mode, and I kind of went, Scott, it is honestly, it's no biggie for you to take this silver mirror. If there's a point further down the line and you have the silver mirror and it causes you harm, then I'll turn a blind eye on account of the fact that I have actually tried to press you to take this silver mirror. What do you say, my man? No, don't.
Scott, there's a slot on this bag that just the silver mirror fits in so snug. You wouldn't even need to take the bag off or unzip it or anything. You could just slide it straight in. And then it would take 1 second, and then off you go. He's like, I told you that. I don't want it.
I know, and it was so difficult because I was kind of going, obviously I wouldn't have given you the same consideration because you went, right, we need to get a silver mirror, blah, blah, blah. But I was just kind of going, I don't even know why it offered you to take, most people would have said, you put the silver mirror in your, but it just said,
it could be replaced by a passage that says you walk through a grove and pick up a silver mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have actually, because there were a couple of things that I actually had to, I had to censor on account of the fact it's a 9-year-old boy or a kid, and he meets this ghost woman. He meets this ghost woman, and and it turns out that she and her children had been burnt to death. And I remember
that. I actually remember that bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I decided not to mention the children.
It's an old woman that burnt to death. He doesn't care.
This woman burnt to death. Because I'd already talked about her burning to death, and then it mentioned the kids. I thought, well, do you know what? I can't really backtrack on it.
But then I will watch it, but how seamless do you edit it out? Is it immediate and he doesn't notice, or do you have to be?
I don't think he notices. But that's me maybe just having a very high opinion of myself. But and the children.
I don't think it's that. I don't think tricking a 9-year-old is that high an opinion.
He doesn't even know he's adopted.
You can just slam it on him one day.
I'm going to slam at him next time he annoys me. I'll do it on the next live stream.
Do it live, yeah. If he gets a really low roll.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, actually, if he rolls high for perception, just going to go, Scott, you do realise I'm not your birth father, don't you?
What? He rereads the book later and finds that it's not in there.
What a way to find it! It's like when we were doing the big MCing. My character's a dampier, and we kept getting all the other people to roll for perception to see if they noticed, and just for a while, just thought it was just a goth.
For a long time, and it was actually every time one of the characters met your character, I'd like, I'll roll a perception, and none of the players actually knew why. Most of the players knew pretty
much. No, absolutely.
But the goth pub where you're from, a lot of people were like, I actually just thought they were goths. It's clearly a club full of vampires. It took ages for someone to actually eventually.
It did actually take ages. We're just showing our kind of geekiness here. Right, we're nearly 40 minutes in. We should probably start. We've actually managed to hold on to the kind of concept of keeping this tight for this season on account of the fact that we're really kind of enjoying the story. Yeah. And because we've not done this in a while, we've just spent 40 minutes talking shite.
After every stream we say we really need to get to it quicker next week because I want to know what happens next. We never do.
Yep, but we've kept a lot tighter than this. And
Usually,
you get 20 minutes to see if we can get you in another loop. Are we up for it?
Yes, let's go.
Welcome to Type 10 to go season 7
For the
episode
3rd time, we're welcoming you to the show.
Probably something like the 4th. Right, so basically what's happened is you've taken a wrong turn, blah, 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 and you need to head back to the town of Durham. So that's where we're at.
East Durham bound.
Absolutely. Back in Durham, you wander around looking for a vacancy sign. You half expect you won't find one, given the run of poor luck the end of the trip has taken. But just as you reach the town edge, you spot an available lodging. I'm as surprised as you are. The landlords are a friendly, middle-aged woman and her husband who are happy to offer lodgings to visitors of Durham for just a few dollars. Apologising for the late hour, you explain your brief visit and you need to get off the road for the night. You're a sight for sore eyes, young man. We haven't a lodger in 6 months, she says, which is blatantly a lie because this is the 4th time you've been here. He says, taking your coat. You explain that you may not be staying long. After a late bite to eat and a long, tiring and trying day, you fall into an uneasy sleep. That is until you're suddenly awoken in the middle of the night.
Can I ask, is this the 3rd loop we're on now? Or
I think this is the 3rd or the 4th loop.
Fuck, because I can't remember which of those mirrors I went into.
Well, you'll find out soon. Your eyes flick open. Flashes of green light fill the room through the window. Green lightning! The window is open, and you were sure it was closed when you retired for the night. Help us! You promised! A distant voice, terrible and raspy. Your heart nearly stops as you dart your eyes about the room. Who's there? Show yourself, you stammer. More flashes of green light pour through the room. You said you would go back. Do you leap out of bed and search the room for the source of the voice, or try and talk to the strange voice?
I'll talk to it. It doesn't matter. We've picked both.
I know, absolutely. You've picked both, and there you go. So we're finally onto the quest, and we're pretty much just treading water at the moment. Who's there? You ask. Upright in the bed. No answer. Show yourself! Still nothing. You look about the room. There's no feasible location for the speaker to hide, unless a sudden thought goes to the bed you're in. Do you wish to check under the bed, or instead approach the window?
Approach the window.
Approach the window like a motherfucker, is the exact wording that it says here. You approach the window. There is no one in the street. The sky fills again with a flash of the sickly green light. In the distance, you see a hill, and perched atop, the silhouette of the house. Could that be the source of the light? The voice, much fainter now, as though it were travelling in the wind, speaks one last time. Come, Frank. You promised. The speaker knows your name.
They do indeed. Frank Winston.
You wait, expecting more. Your heart rate eases, and nothing more is said. It's only then you notice the chill of the air blowing in the room and quickly lets the window closed as one last flash of light floods the room with a green haze. You turn to get back into bed. You know this better than I do, though, but find it gone.
Yep. Are we in a long room? Is there shapes in the walls?
The green haze lifts, and you find yourself standing in a long corridor. The floor, the walls, and the ceiling all glint of polished metal, smooth and odd to the touch, like your gran. At the end of the corridor, or did I say
smooth
that?
To the touch? Like your gran's smooth? Is your gran just... She's been on that lotion?
Smooth and cold to the touch. She's in the oil of Olay and she's been dead for 20 years.
It's still oiled though.
Still oiled and smooth.
They pop in and top her up.
At the end of the corridor are 3 markings set into the walls. You see an oval marking in the wall ahead,
That was
a
the first
circle on
one.
the left wall, and a square on the right-hand wall. They're each large enough to be a door, but smooth and flush with the wall, with no obvious way of opening, like your gran.
I think sometimes you got to cut a new one.
There's a low thrum in there. You cannot tell if it's from the floor, the walls, or just the air itself. The air smells of ozone after a lightning storm. Your choices are: call out to see if someone will answer, examine the circle marking on the left, examine the square marking on the right, or pass these and examine the oval marking at the end of the corridor.
So
and you can't remember what we've done so far.
We've definitely done 2, and we definitely did the oval first. Now, it's a question of whether I went circle or square next. When you started talking, I was leaning towards the circle was the one we hadn't done. And just now I've changed my mind back. Let's go for the circle one.
You want to go circle one?
Yeah, something about hip to be square playing in my head last time made me pick square, I think. I could be wrong.
Okay, you're wrong.
Fuck. Shit. Okay, I think. Oh, I see. It was this time I was thinking hip to be square. That's why I remember it.
Well, too late. Do you want to change your mind?
I kind of do, considering it's going to be another 2 episodes before we get back to this spot. Sorry, let's. So it's the square one.
You want to go square?
Because I was thinking hip to be square this time, and I think last time we did this, the Magic Roundabout theme song was playing in my head, and so I picked circle. So this time it must be square. I need to pick.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%. Never been more sure about anything in my life. Knew the second we started the stream. The lighting is really making my face look super red.
Just give me a second because I've lost my page. So talk amongst yourselves.
No, I think we're all just sitting in silence. We'll just let the pressure mount steadily as you flick through pages in the dark, conscious of the echoing noise of each one.
I mean, that'll do it.
You feel that tension build?
I do feel the tension build. I'm actually slightly annoyed at myself, but
it's okay. You don't need to be annoyed. Just enjoy the silence.
I'm nearly there.
Out through the mouth. And then again. And out again. Feel your eyelids begin to get heavier as you breathe in.
This is because I had moved to the page that you wanted to choose and then realised that I hadn't held on to the page that you decided to change and want to choose. So this is kind of on you.
Anything to disrupt the proceedings and get us a little bit of meditation time, John.
Absolutely.
You don't get much opportunities in modern life to just take a break from it all, but we're better than this deeply silent room here right now. Close your eyes, everyone. Feel the rush of your breath the beat of your heart. Feel your pulse start to slow now as you drift deeper, deeper, and then again, and out again.
Well, I'm here now, so if you're ready.
We have all arrived. We are ready for whatever tasks the book may throw at us.
I might actually just let you continue this.
It's a separate podcast. It's a sleep podcast. If you pay extra,
you're going for the square. You're going for the square marking.
Yeah. Like I said, first time.
Fuck you. As you take a few steps forward, the reverberation of your footsteps echoes strangely along the corridor. You reach out to touch the edge of the shape, and as you do, the wall opens before you. It is a door. In one swift motion, it sweeps aside to reveal a chamber on the other side. The chamber is undefined and blurred. You step through to see what lies beyond, and the chamber reveals itself. The door closes behind you.
It's like I'm right there.
At the far end of the room stands a group of 4 pedestals that appear to be moulded up directly from the floor. Atop each pedestal rests a tall cylinder. To your right, 4 horizontal metal platforms line the wall like a row of low tables. In the left wall is a large round window that looks out to a black sky. A faint green light shines in through the window, bathing everything with a sickly green tint. What do you want to do? Do you want to look at the window, examine the horizontal slabs, or examine the cylinders in the far wall?
Examine the cylinders.
Here we go. You approach the 4 cylinders to find that they are hollow, made of glass, and capped with a metal top and bottom. Each one is filled with a pinkish fluid. You reach out to tap one to confirm your visual inspection, and as you tap, you blink. When you open your eyes, you're no longer standing in front of the cylinder. You're instead looking at a distorted image of a man who looks eerily similar to you, standing before you through a pink haze. His finger pulls away from before your eyes, and you realise the figure is you. You're staring at yourself from within the cylinder. You scream, but nothing can be heard. Something appears from behind the doppelganger, a skittish glowing thing with too many appendages to count.
Jesus.
That was my impression of that thing. You cry out silently as the thing rips into your body. Blood splays the cylinder, turning pink to red, and eventually it's so thick that you can no longer see. You need to make a hard composure check.
I don't even... What?
Roll
okay,
2.
We need to go into the square door again. Where's my pencil?
Yeah, exactly. Roll 2d6 and add 1 to it.
2d6 add 1. My entire room is pitch black right now. This is difficult. Where the hell is my dice bag? Why did I get a black dice bag? The one colour, it's impossible to locate.
Lucy has rightly said, write down square, Chris.
I will write down square.
Again, I feel like she could have used some form of punctuation. I don't just write down square, Chris.
My computer's screaming at me because doing this, I pulled the cable out. Or half out.
I don't think I did too well in your composure check here, Chris.
Apparently not. Where the fuck is my dice bag? We were playing D&D on Thursday. How did I not have one here? Handy. You always have dice handy. Yeah. I should. I GM. Oh, there it is. No, I got it. That took way too long. So 2d6. We got a 7.
Plus 1 is 8. So you pass your composure check. God. So you don't lose any of your composure, which is amazing. Now you need to record in your investigation journal that you dreamt of being trapped in a cylinder while your body was dismembered.
Wow. Imagine writing that, your dream diary.
And you add 4 mythos points, so your mythos points are now back up to 4.
Yeah, they were robbed from us in that first run, so we can't die again, because if that happens, we lose the mythos points. So, square door. I found my pen. Square door.
For being trapped in a cylinder while your body was dismembered. I might when I'm doing these shows with Scott, I might avoid this season.
Yeah. You don't have to do the special ones if you don't want.
Yep.
He wouldn't have a dog named Onion as his science officer in Tight 10 at Warp 10.
And you wake. So here you go.
And I wake.
I need to go to the optician because my eyesight is getting increasingly worse.
I'm only allowed to have one pair of glasses on at once.
Lucy's asking exactly. It's like Samuel Beckett's Endgame, where there's 2 characters, and one character's always standing, one's always sitting down, and when one sits down, the other one stands up. There you go. I'm not sure how many people watching this will get that reference. I genuinely don't know. But anyway, obviously Samuel Beckett is more famous for Waiting for Godot, but yeah, other plays are available. You awake, not in the bed, but in the floor between the bed and the window. You feel tired, as though you haven't really slept at all. You know you dreamt last night, but the memory of it has faded from your mind.
I wrote it down in my dream diary.
Dragging yourself to your feet, you immediately go to the window. It's raining outside. The morning is heavily overcast and grey. Still, with your mind made up, you get dressed and prepare for the journey to the house. You do remember seeing flashes of green light. That much you do recall, and you strongly believe that wasn't part of any dream. Once downstairs, you casually ask the landlady if she saw anything odd last night, or lightning, but she reports nothing, giving you a quizzical look, which I probably can't do with glasses. She goes, you get your automobile checked over at Pete's fuel depot, as you do not want to have any trouble in the rain. After some small talk and further confirmation that nothing was seen last night, you drive on, satisfied with the condition of your vehicle. As your injury time. We're not quite at the hour yet. I don't know why Lucy's thinking that way. We started a wee bit late. The rain is heavy at times, lessens, and then returns with a vengeance. The road is muddy and bumpy. There's enough daylight to afford you a glimpse of the hill every 100 or so feet through a weakened tree line. Directions are not. Finding a house in the day is far easier task than last night proved. You arrive at the track that leads to the house and suddenly recall that strange voice from last night, an echo of a nightmare. Refusing to let your imagination get the better of you, you take a deep breath and exit your vehicle. You turn your collar up against the rain and step through the tree line. You head up the track to the house. Dun, dun, dun.
On Sentinel Hill. Title drop. Da, da, da.
By the time I get through this is probably the cliffhanger that we're ending on, although we probably know where we're going because we've done it so many times before. The track leads steadily upwards, twisting and turning through the blighted landscape. A tunnel of dead trees looms on either side of the trail. Despite the dull morning, you're immediately drawn to the site between the 2 twisted grey trees directly ahead of you. You've seen it before, but here is the house.
On Sentinel Hill.
The house on Sentinel Hill. Though the house through, and I said through. I did that rookie mistake of seeing though and thinking that it said through, but it's fine. I realised last one. Though the house stands atop the hill, the thickly knotted tree branches and dense leafless briars lend the area almost complete privacy and inaccessibility, like your gran. Save for this one track you followed. The grey mottled wood panelling of the house sweeps into the skyline behind. making the house look undefined, like your gran, as though we're willing its surroundings to shadow it and hide it away. Each of the downstairs windows are boarded up with the upper floor windows in various states of disrepair, like your gran. The attic window top
various states.
various states of
Different
disrepair.
parts there are looking worse than others.
The attic window top and centre is the only fully intact window you can see. The front door also looks intact, although the porch is littered with loose timber, wood panels, twigs, and other woodland debris. There is no sign at all of living vegetation. Dead, crumbling creeper vines cling to the outer walls like grey varicose veins running upwards to the thatched roof.
I remember
The
that
roof
imagery.
tiles, exactly. The roof tiles appear to be intact on this side, from what little visibility you're afforded on the ground. The rain continues to beat down as you head up the porch steps, taking care not to trip over the myriad of loose branches littering the way. Thankful for the shelter, you stop to take a breath. Long streams of water run down each side of the porch and batter the muddy ground. Here we go. I'm just going to check an investigation journal because it's asked me a couple of things. Neither of which, it's asked me two things, neither of which are relevant at the moment, but there's definitely something that you need to get to that this becomes a thing. But I won't tell you what they are now, but there's two things that it's asked if you've entered into your investigation journal, which you haven't. So you must choose one of the following instead. You can knock on the door, try the door to see if it's unlocked, or head round the side of the house to look for another way in.
So before we headed round to the side of the house,
Yeah.
there was shit all back there, and then we headed back. The other time was we went up. We didn't. I don't think we knocked. We just walked in, and then went and tried to go into the door to the right, and then he appeared at the top. And then the other time we went in and tried to go to the room at the back, and he got us again. Keep getting shoved by an old guy.
You do keep getting shoved by an old guy. So should we leave that as a cliffhanger, or do you want to make a decision now?
I think we'll leave it as a cliffhanger, but I think there's only two choices left that we can make. Maybe there's only one.
I think there's only one. Do you want to just do it?
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Let's go on. So you want to knock on the door?
Yeah.
We'll just say name the answers.
Yeah, probably.
Right, let's do it.
There's nobody in.
The door has a rusted metal knocker in its centre. You knock on the door and wait. After a few moments, you knock again. Hello? Anyone there? You call out after you feel enough time has passed. You're about to try again when suddenly the door opens a crack and a man's face appears. Yes, he asks. Sorry to bother you, sir. Frank Winston. I write for the Arkham Gazette. And Arkham, you say? Arkham? You're from that blasted university, aren't you? I'm just going to break the.
One rusted, one gone entirely.
Exactly. You're about to protest and deny it when the door is slammed shut. University, Miskatonic. Could this be Professor Peabody from the newspaper article? Did he come back to this house? You call out his name and add that you just want to talk. You're not far into trying to explain yourself when the door is fully opened. He looks around his late 50s, about 5'5" in height and unshaven. Balding at the crown of his head, his remaining grey hair is a little long and unkempt. Yes.
Spectre in the dock from Back to the Future.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm Professor Peabody. Best you come in then, Frank from Arkham. You get a sudden rush of excitement and step over the threshold. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much. You say, looking about the dark hallway ahead. The main staircase runs up on the right-hand side, and the hall ends in a door with another door to the right-hand side to the foot of the stairs. Up the stairs, lad. Save me some effort. You move to head upstairs.
Well, I already know what's going to happen here. We're going to start heading upstairs and we're going to feel a little prick in the back.
Hey, who knew it was that kind of story? You turn and start to take the stairs when suddenly you get a sharp pain in your back. The professor stuck a syringe in you when your back was turned. You let out a cry while trying to reach back and pull it out. What on earth? You shout, confused, even though you technically weren't. The professor stands back, emotionless, as your vision blurs. You fall to your knees and black out.
Excellent.
We are definitely going to stop after this sentence. It's page. There we go. So that's the slight one. Flashes of green light pierce your vision. A pulsing thrum sends pains through your head. You try to open your eyes, but all you see is a blur. And then a flash of green forces them shut again. You hear a cry, "It's working!" It sounds distant and drawn out. You fade in and out of consciousness. In your weakened state, you think you hear a terrible scream, and then there's a sudden silence. When you wake fully, you're lying on the floor. Your hands and feet have been tied, but you notice your bonds have been cut. You push yourself up into a sitting position. It appears you're in the attic. It is dark, with only one grimy window with a light source down the far end facing you. The rain beats down noisily on the roof above. Standing in the middle of the attic floor is a strange metal device about 4 feet tall.
Oh yeah, we never figured out what that does. The
portal. It's a pillar of polished metal. You've only been here once before.
I think it was a portal thing.
Yep. It's a pillar of polished metal. It glints in the dim light of the attic. And like tentacles, many copper wires snake their way from openings to the device, running across the floor and disappearing into the walls. A perfect sphere of the same polished metal sits atop the device, set partway into the base. In an almost perfect circle, 3 feet around the device, lies a ring of dead animals.
I remember this.
Everything from rats, mice, flies, beetles, and centipedes. Some look fresher than others.
And they're the ones that are for eating.
Exactly. The possibility of a bad smell is masked instead with the odour of chlorine bleach. What you see just beyond the device sends you into a mild shock. The professor is lying on the floor, his body twisted in the middle, while the lower half is facing almost entirely the wrong direction. Blood runs down into the seams of the floorboards. His eyes are wide open, frozen in terror.
Terror.
Back right in there.
Don't call it soup. I can't even remember what that was in reference to. I'm sure I probably don't want to know.
Make a very hard composure check. Roll 2d6.
It's a 7 again.
+2 is 9, which means you pass the composure check.
No way.
That's twice you passed the composure. Do you remember you would shit out a luck and composure check?
Every time.
This time, something moves in the far corner. Lurking in the darkness is a small hunched figure. You're about to ask who's there when it speaks first in a strained and raspy voice. "This is my chance to shine." You fumble to take out your flashlight. "Frank, where are you?" No, sorry. Scene. Line. "Frank, where are Frank, where are my family? You must go back." How do you know me? You answer, both terrified and overwhelmingly intrigued. "Frank, it is me. Edward, you saved me." Did you kill the professor?" You ask, your nervousness showing through. "Yes, I had to. He planned to stop us. He is working for them." It's then you notice blood dripping from the serrated edge of the claw at the end of his arm.
Forgot about the claw.
Edward lurches to one side and starts to shuffle out of the darkness towards you. This is the cliffhanger. What do? Decide this is all too much and flee the house? Do you use your flashlight to get a better look at the figure, or do you ask more questions to find out exactly how this could be Edward?
I think last time I asked more questions, but I don't. It's a long time ago, and I was not taking good notes.
Well, you've got a week to go back and watch previous episodes and find out what you did.
That's a very good point. Maybe I should do that. I didn't think of that.
Maybe you should do that. But anyway, that's us. We're at the end. We're at a cliffhanger. You've definitely gone off on another tangent, something that you have only done once before, and there's a lot more to explore. And this is a very kind of exploratory story. So it's quite cool that you keep kind of, even though you're kind of going to look, doing slightly different things. But that's the end of this episode.
I also think it's good that I've got a couple dead ends out of the way now.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are done.
I really should have made you go to the circle, but I'm not a total prick.
Hey, it's been like how long has it been since we last did this? Over a month.
I think it's been about 2 months, but anyway, that's where we're at. So
exciting stuff, though.
I know. So we'll be back next week. And unless we decide to do something else.
What am I doing this time next week? Oh shit! I might not be back next week.
No.
I'm meeting a buddy who's in a band who's playing a gig in Edinburgh on Tuesday night next week.
Well, maybe
and he's staying at my house.
Maybe we'll be meeting up in 2 weeks. But anyway, you've got time to think about it. In the meantime, this is the end of season 7, episode 5 of Tight 10 Tacles. This has been Chris Ashworth.
This has been John Carruthers.
Goodbye.
Sayonara.